Welcome back to Kbouge Creations. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that now because today is the day that I start making Peruvian dishes. All this month, the end of this month is Peruvian Independence Day, and I know today is July 4th. Happy July 4th to all y'all. However, this month I am dedicating it to Peruvian dishes. Now, today I am making like a Peruvian beef stew, and it's called Guiso de Carne. Now, be sure to stay tuned. All right, so for this recipe, you are measuring with your heart and your taste buds. Now, all Peruvian dishes, it's just all about how you make that sazon, pretty much, right? So, a little backstory. My mom, every time she would cook, she loves hosting. She loves having big crowds, like lots of people around, and she loves cooking for a big amount of people. So whenever I would be in the kitchen and she would say, shoo, 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 like get out of my kitchen, and she would love her kitchen. And that's how I am nowadays because of her. Well, when I got engaged, I was so worried and so like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, we're gonna lose a lot of weight because I don't know how to cook. I really didn't know how to cook. And it didn't come down to until one day I decided to make, I think it was lentils or something really simple. And I asked my mom, I'm like, listen, you've always shooed me out of the kitchen. So how do I do this? So she literally said, hey, you'll need lentils, you'll need salt, pepper, and she just literally told me this. Okay, how much of that, mother? She's like, I don't know. I just put a little, just a little dash or a little bit. And I'm like, okay, well, how am I supposed to do this dish? And so I was literally like, I guess I'm just gonna have to measure with my heart and measure with my taste buds because I remember the taste and I knew what I was going for. Now, I know for those of you that don't really know the taste of some things, but you'll literally know when you have that perfect, like the salt and pepper, everything comes together. I will kind of give you a little gist of it. And today I am making it for my whole family, and my whole family is like 8 to 10 people, probably a little bit more. But today we are using beef chuck pot roast. Now, this does take 2 to 3 hours to cook. If you want something a lot more simpler and easier, I would definitely go with a different type of cut of meat. Either one works great. It's just, I have time right now to let that cook and let it simmer, and you can even do this in a crock pot if you wanted to. But I am using this, and this I got from Costco, and it's literally 2 in 1. So I'm doing that. I am using a little bit of salt, pepper, a whole onion, probably 3 to 4 cloves, and some cumin, a basil leaf, some peas and carrots. I'm using oil. I'm using vegetable oil. You can totally use olive oil, but I just feel like vegetable oil kind of gives it more of that Peruvian taste, Peruvian flavor, Peruvian sabor. Anyways, I will then be using 3, maybe like 4 to 5, depending how much you like your carbs, because as Peruvians, we just love our carbs. We have rice and potatoes in the same meal. Yeah, I know. You'll need rice too. And potatoes. Also, for the coloring, you can definitely use some of this Goya sazon. Or if you're really trying to hit that Peruvian taste flavor for that color and the taste, you'll need. Now, this is homemade ají panca, but you can definitely find this in the store in this little like jar, but the Peruvian or like the international section, ají panca. So what you do is cut the meat in small cube pieces and like so. However, I then realized that look how much Costco makes me pay for this stuff. Anyways, just wanted to show you how much the amount of non-fat is going in my body, anybody's body, that I'll be throwing out. So, I mean, I personally don't eat it. If you guys eat it, feel free to eat it, but I don't. I usually cut all this out and then make it into cute pieces. There you go. All right, so follow me over. Let's go. Okay, so you add some oil. You add your chopped onions. Huele rico. Then you put a tablespoon of your coloring ají panca. You mix that in. You let that cook until the onions are translucent. Once the onions are translucent, you then add your garlic. I'm gonna tell you, this is such a nifty tool, and it's so much better than cutting those little small garlics. Now, because I'm doing a big amount of food, I am adding 5 cloves of garlic. And you just mix all that together. Now, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of ground cumin. And mix that all up together. After, go ahead and add your meat. A little at a time. And wash your hands. Now make sure you add a generous amount of salt, because that will break down that meat as it's cooking. And you can also add this later, some more later at least. Then black pepper, add a generous amount of black pepper, and then just stir. I wish you guys can smell it because it smells delicious already, but obviously it's not cooked. So they're just giving a toss all around. Then you'll add some water. Water until it kind of goes like halfway on the pot. And mix, put it in medium, and then you'll just cover it up. Actually, before I cover it up, let me show you. That's what you should be looking for. And then just slap on the top. All right, so a little pro tip here. If you would like to cut up and dice up your potatoes, make sure you put them in water so that way it doesn't darken. All right, so it's been about an hour. So I'm going to just taste test it. Okay. The flavor is on point. So I don't need to mess with anything flavoring wise. I am gonna try a piece of meat to see if it's nice and tender. So give me one sec. So as I can tell, just even poking it, it doesn't seem to be ready yet, or at least not the tender wise that I need it to be. Flavor's good, just not the tenderness. So I'm gonna give it another hour for it to cook. There it goes. All right, so at this point it's been cooking for an hour and a half. So the last 30 minutes of it, make sure you have been, moving it around. It just so happens that the water has evaporated a little bit more. Make sure you boil a little bit of water and you just add a little bit more. So it could be at the middle again. the middle of the pot at least. After that, within 30 minutes that are left, go ahead and add your potatoes and add your peas and carrots. I'm gonna add this as gently as possible. But add your potatoes in there. You are welcome to use fresh peas and carrots. However, I think it's better if you just do frozen. That way you can just keep it a little longer in the freezer. So, because of the amount of people that I have, and they're actually picky eaters, I do about half the bag. Again, you just toss it as slowly as you can. My meat is definitely very tender. As you can see here, I'll just take one, and you see how it's very tender. Oh, the flavor is on point. It's so soft, so juicy, and oh my gosh, you're gonna love this. Chef's kisses all around. Again, 30 minutes, the last 30 minutes, you just let that simmer. Still keep it in medium high, or medium. And wait for it to cook, at least to have the potatoes tender. Not too tender to the point where it's all melty and all that. But just enough for it to kind of do its thing. About the last 10 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes or so, I would check it to see the flavor, because you are adding the peas and carrots and the potatoes that don't have any salt or pepper. So that can kind of like dim down the flavor of your pot. So you just kind of keep mixing and just add however you need, just salt or pepper or anything that you feel that it needs it. Again, you are measuring with your heart and your taste buds. So let that simmer, let it do its thing, and we'll check back in 10-15 minutes. All right, so you'll know when it's ready when you feel like the potatoes are done. It tastes amazing, the flavor's on point, and that's when you know you have made the Peruvian beef stew. I mean, look at that. Ah! Can't wait to dig in.
Está delicioso lo que es este.
Kelly, puros halagos nomás, ¿eh? No te puedes quejar.
This to all those Peruvians and all the Peruvian food lovers. So in Peru, we call it Guiso de Carne. Now, be sure to stay tuned. Bye. Really trying to hit that Peruvian taste flavor. For that color and the taste, you'll need. Be sure to stay tuned. I don't know if I really want to say bye.